Donald Herzog, class of 2009, our next virtual presenter, BSDE. From an early age, Donald had an active imagination and enjoyed drawing. But it was when his dad first showed him how to use his drafting tools that he wanted to be a designer. While Donald's background in design is diverse, the common thread throughout his career has been a passion for end-user advocacy and improving product interactions. He has led award-winning user experience projects in several industries, including aerospace, consumer goods, financial services, healthcare, and marine electronics. He has also taught design courses at the Art Institute of Ohio and DAAP. In his spare time, Donald enjoys working on cars, following auto racing, we should talk after this, Donald, collecting mid-century modern antiques, and traveling to new places. Donald, you have the stage.
Thank you, Brian. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, good morning, everyone. Today, I'd kind of like to share with you how I was involved in helping improve patient care through a better hospital bed design. So a leading medical manufacturer hired my former employer to have us help them with not only the industrial design, but also the UX UI design on one of their new bed projects. And their strategic objective for this bed was to own fall prevention and provide the easiest caregiver experience on the market. No small task. And as they had done research, they discovered that every year up to 1 million US patients experience a fall while being treated in a hospital. And 79% of these falls occur on or near a bed when the patient is unassisted. And 30 to 51% of these falls result in an injury. Research also estimated, though, that 1/3 of these falls could be prevented. So I was tasked with helping develop the user experience that would be put on the footboard, the touchscreen that goes on the footboard of the bed. And like most UX UI projects, we applied our human-centered design process to this design as well. And this process contained basically 3 phases. So first was the discovery phase. In this phase, we planned out the project goals and the schedules. We reviewed current products from the client and their competitors for evaluation, and we met with stakeholders to determine their business objectives, as well as conducted user needs research. Once this was completed, we then move into the development stage or phase. Here we determine the content and ask ourselves, what is it that we should actually be building? We also identified user behaviors and try to decide how will users expect to interact with the interface once it's designed. And then we designed the overall experience, not just the screens that go on the interface, but also looked at how lights and sound strategies will affect that experience as well. And then throughout this phase, we also conducted user acceptance testing using validation loops. And what we did was we took prototypes of the interface and put them in front of users for feedback. And then based on that feedback, we would make any changes that they requested, and then we would repeat this process until the designs met their expectations. And once all this was complete, we then moved into the delivery phase, where we handed off final pixel perfect assets and any supporting documentations like workflows to the development team for the software implementation. And then we continued to collaborate with engineers until the final product was delivered. So we didn't just throw over the designs and said, that's up to you to figure out. We actually worked side by side with them until the final project was delivered. And throughout this process, though, user engagement played a vital role in the UI development. We conducted several interviews and usability tests over the 3-year period. Everything from the UX direction to the new features of the system to the look and feel of the system was tested with stakeholders to make sure that we were making the right decisions. And during these user engagements, we identified key opportunities that help improve the user experience. The first one was design the system with a workflow that matches the caregiver's priorities. While we were researching existing products, we realized that beds are often designed around more of a system-based architecture. And what that is that each action that can be performed on the interface is presented to the user at the same level. So as more features or actions are added to the system, they become harder and harder to find, and it makes it difficult for the user to actually perform the task they're trying to do. And through research, we found out that nurses spend 90% of their time either repositioning the bed for the patient, weighing that patient, or setting up a bed alarm or bed watch features. So we thought, wouldn't a task-based architecture make more sense and be a better approach? So we placed the primary or the most used features of the interface on the main screen. And then the secondary or the less used actions can be accessed through a menu that opens on another screen. So this allows the nurse to perform tasks quickly and easily without having to navigate through less used functions. The second key opportunity was to provide a way to quickly put a patient in the optimal position for nurse assistance. Many patients rely on caregivers for their mobility needs, obviously, and caregivers often use a manual technique to move a patient from a lying to a sitting position. So this puts both the patient and the caregiver at risk for injury. So we designed the positioning controls as the primary function on the UI. You can see here that they take up the majority of the screen. They use very easy to reach large buttons. And we even included 4 presets at the corners to quickly position a patient in a particular position. All this allows the nurse to quickly put a patient in the best position when the patient needs to exit the bed and needs help. And it also provides a safer experience for both the patient and the caregiver. The third key opportunity was to allow for easy patient weighing and reduce the equipment weight miscalculations. Accurately recording a patient's weight is critical is a critical part of their care. The bed's built-in scale actually allows patients to be weighed without having to exit the bed. So this reduces the risk of falls and makes the process more efficient for the caregiver as well. This also allowed us to design a better experience on the scale screen with being able to show a live weight display and even give gain and loss information to the caregiver. They can also look at this weight history by monitoring weight changes over longer periods of time. And we even have smart prompts that remind the nurse that they need to re-zero the bed every time they have a new patient move into that bed. But it's also important that any equipment that's placed on the bed be excluded from this patient weight. So previously, nurses had to actually remove the patient from the bed just to weigh the equipment. So to prevent potential falls, we added an add equipment feature to the scale screen. And this allows the patients to remain in the bed while the equipment is being weighed and helpfully reduce risk of falls. To do this, the nurse just simply has to select the add equipment button. And then once they've done that, they can add one piece of equipment at a time to the bed and then selecting save after each piece is added. The system then can sense that there's a change in weight and actually records this as equipment weight and doesn't put it into the patient weight. It also increases the equipment count that's displayed on the screen to help the nurses understand how many pieces of equipment have been placed on the bed. The fourth key opportunity was to offer smarter solutions to the bed exit alarm and bed watch features to prevent falls and to reduce alarm fatigue. The bed can also prevent falls by detecting changes in weight distribution across the mattress. So the bed exit alarm can alert a nurse when a patient's weight shifts on that mattress, indicating that the patient might be trying to exit the bed on their own. And then sensitivity levels of that can be adjusted based on the patient's risk of falling. And it also helps reduce the number of alarms that a nurse is subjected to, which is often referred to as alarm fatigue. The alarm can also be paused when assisting the patient out of the bed. And when the patient is returned to the bed, a smart prompt reminds the nurse to turn the bed alarm back on again. And to further help prevent falls, nurses can also use the bed watch feature. This allows nurses to set and monitor bed status indicators to improve patient safety. Bed watch can be configured to indicate when a bed is not at its low height, which is needed to easily assist patients out of the bed. It can also monitor side rails that need to be placed in the up position, and it actually will alert the nurse when one is lowered either by the patient or maybe even a family member. It can also indicate when the head of bed is positioned below 30 degrees and indicate when the bed is not in a flat position. So all these are configurable by the caregiver as they need. And then the last key opportunity was to quickly indicate overall system status so that the caregiver can decide if something needs their attention or not. We designed the interface to provide increasing status information as the user actually approaches the bed. So from outside the room or about 30 feet away, a high-level system status is displayed on the footboard and on the side rails using one of three colors. And these colors can indicate to the nurse what the status of the bed is. So if they see something if they have a light that's red, meaning there's a warning, it generally indicates that there's immediate attention is required at the bed. If the light is amber, it's kind of a caution in relaying that attention may be needed soon, but not necessarily right away. And if the light is green or an okay, it kind of means that the bed is in a good status and everything is fine. Once inside the room or about 10 feet away, additional information is provided to the caregiver through a dashboard that was placed below the screen. Here we use large backlit icons that allow nurses to quickly access the status of the major systems like the bed alarm, the bed watch, or low height. And then once at the bed itself or at the interface about a foot away, the interface presents the greatest amount of detail. Nurses are presented with specific status information or details on how to return the bed to a good status if something needs their attention. So using that human-centered design process, it allowed us to help the client meet their goals of designing a hospital bed that helps prevent falls, reduces injury when those falls do occur, streamlines caregiver workflows. And in fact, the client is confident that the new design will reduce bed-related falls by 50%, so much so that they even guarantee it. Thank you.
Donald, thank you for that very much. Not just a better bed, but a smart bed. And I've had to interact with those a few times, so I look forward to, well, I don't want to look forward to using one of those, but I'm glad they exist in case I need them.